Welcome in, everybody. Joe Quills here with you. It is a Saturday morning, and it's Saturday once again. And let the madness begin in the horse racing world. And I know you're saying, no, 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 no. There's only one March Madness, and it is on the basketball court. But we got madness today at the fairgrounds in New Orleans, where they have the Louisiana Derby today, going a mile and 3/16, the longest of the prep races in North America. And we have the Fairgrounds Oaks that's going a mile and 16th. That will precede the race. And we'll also have racing from Turfway Park. Usually they're a night track, but today they're running under natural light, as we have the Bourbonette Oaks that will get you into the Kentucky Oaks if you are nominated. And we have the Jeff Ruby Stakes. And when you see the program, that is not a mistyped word there, because Jeff Ruby is a steakhouse in the Cincinnati area. The Turfway Park in Florence, Kentucky is right over the river from Cincinnati. Matter of fact, it's right next to the Cincinnati airport, which is actually in Kentucky, which turned into a major inside joke with one of my friends on the Action Labs on Twitch. So I brought that up. I was the one that started that, and I do not apologize. But so we have those four races. There are four featured races today. But wait, there's more. The Bleacher Brothers Stable is in action not once but twice today. And I changed all this. I changed all the sound drops a couple of weeks ago, and I still don't know where it's at. What? Wait, there it is. As Keepsake Box, AJ's filly, not a Philadelphia filly, but a 3-year-old filly, will be running in the first race today on the grass at Gulfstream Park. We'll take a look at that as well. We'll take a look towards the end, because I'm going to make you wait for it. And AJ's other horse, Impractical, also runs today. He runs at the fairgrounds. So we'll take a look at those two races at the end. And those two races are going to be races that I'm just looking at. I'm not writing an article for it because, the one thing is with me, I know I have ADD, ADHD, LMNOP, all that stuff. And I have such a hard time getting myself started on things. But once I finish like a champ. I mean, I'm finishing like the town, like he did last time out at Gulfstream Park. And by the way, the town will be running next Sunday, the 29th, at Tampa Bay Downs. My good friend Jason Beam hopefully will be calling the town as a winner in a state-bred stakes race on the grass there at Tampa. And hopefully we'll get a little winning streak started here with the Bleacher Brothers Stable. Now, are we technically a stable? No. We don't. I mean, we buy into these horses, but we're not actually. You're not actually going to hear if it was a stakes race. Number 2 is the town owned by the Bleacher Brothers. You're not going to hear that. It's just our collection of horses that we bought into. AJ has 5 that I know of. And the reason why I say that is he's over in Europe right now, and he may be scouting other horses. He may be getting a couple of horses from the UK. Yeah, they are part of UK. Okay. I just had to think there because, um, you know, I can't keep track of everything. Maybe he comes back. He comes back on that big jet airliner, has a horse or two or three in the cargo hold. Maybe. And I know you're saying, Joe, they don't, they have, but, but you know what I mean. So, so we're going to get to those races here today, and hopefully, we will get you guys some winners. I think I gave you one last week, and you can tell that I just didn't. Um, I just didn't care. Um, because once the show's over, once the um, and forgive me, I'm having issues on my Twitch here right now. Um, so if you were watching on Twitch and we were having issues here, I do apologize. Okay, we're back up. Okay, so yeah, so we have 5 horses, and I don't know why I'm saying we. Well, I guess I played a part in it because I got AJ to scratch that itch with horse racing because I started writing horse racing stuff here at Bleacher Brothers because it's like, well, what can I do that doesn't step on the toes of everybody else? Because we had a bunch of young kids that were writing stuff with us, and I'm like, well, what can I do that won't step on somebody else's toes? Because my opinion, do you want 4 articles of the same thing on your site? No, at least I don't think so. And I know that nobody else would talk horse racing. So that's how Quills Picks Winners was born, which was born because I had no money or disposable money or whatever that term is. So I was like, well, let's keep my mind sharp. Let's see if we can pick you guys a couple of winners and see if I can get you guys some money. Even if my main pick, even if my main pick doesn't win, if I say something that you guys catch, it's like, Joe said something about this, but I kind of like that other horse that he's talking about here, even though he's picking the other horse. Hey, feel free, you know, because even though I'm picking and trying to be a tout, if you want to call it that, we're here just to have fun here. So we're looking at a couple of different things here today, and hopefully we can get you some winners here. We're going to look at 6 different races here today, as I said, and hopefully get you guys some winners. So just to let you know, um, check out the. Let me find it here. Check out FanDuel. Um, because they are who we um, that's who we mention on our races here. And the one thing I will tell you guys is there is different promotions there on the horse racing side that I like to promote on here. So first you have money back specials, which I will share my screen for so you guys can see this here. Let's go here. And you can see my 5 pillow over there. Okay, so you have the money back special here. So money back special, you get $10 back as a racing bonus if your horse finishes second or third. And race 8 at the fairgrounds, which is not a race that we're covering today. Is that the Impractical race? No, okay. So race 8 is the Costa Rising Stakes. It is a state-bred stakes going 5.5 furlongs. They have a overflow field of 13. Scratchers are not in yet, so just to let you guys know. At least not at the fairgrounds. Turfway, no scratches as well. So probably we'll be in the middle of talking about something and boom, the scratches happen. Turfway Park races 10 and 11. Those are your money back special races. If your horse finishes second or third, you get up to $10 back on your win wager. And if you have less than 5 horses, this promotion is null and void. Refund for third place is not available with less than 8 betting interests, and refunds are issued non-withdrawable racing bets that expire 7 days after receipt. And the great thing about FanDuel is they will tell you, is this your bonus money that you're using, or are you using your pot of money? So you can go back and forth here, but they will tell you, oh, you're using your $5 from, you're using your $10 here from this previous wager. Okay. So today we have race 11 at Turfway Park that we're looking at, which is a money back race. Now also they have the Road to the Derby special, and the fairground Louisiana Derby is 9 horses in the race right now, and the Jeff Ruby Stakes is a field of 12. Your first single horse win bet up to $20 is eligible for each race. So you could bet $20 in the Jeff Ruby Stakes this afternoon, $20 in the Louisiana Derby, and boom, you either make a crap ton of money or hopefully you get your $20 back. So, so next week will be the Florida Derby and the Arkansas Derby. We're not going to cover the UAE Derby at Maiden Race Course. Nothing against those in Dubai, but just to let you guys know, the people in Dubai do not like the Flintstones, but the people of Abu Dhabi do. But seriously, it's the way that the programs are given to us here in North America, because they're so much different than others. Unless I get an advanced copy of that card, and also I think the race would go off by the time we start the day. So, but we'll also have the Florida Derby, big race at Gulfstream Park next weekend, and the Arkansas Derby. I believe they're drawing that today, because I think the way that they're doing it this year, they do it. They're doing it on Saturday for the Arkansas Derby, and they're going to draw the rest of the card on Sunday. The reason why they do it is they do it on TV on FS1, FS2, America's Day at the Races, whoever they call it, on Fox. So, and then you have the Wood and the Wood Bluegrass and St. Anita. Those will be 3 tracks that we'll be focusing on in 2 weeks. Then Lexington, for the Lexington Stakes at Keeneland. That's your last chance race to get in. And we'll be talking Derby for the 3 weeks after that. So we got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 races left. And if you did not get your 10 races in, you're going to miss out on that deposit match. But I think I've surpassed that already big time. But so yeah, so you have to wager at least $10 or more to get into that promotion. So if you've actually bet, but you get up to $20 back if your horse finishes second or third. And these races are going to fill. So maybe not Santa Anita Derby, but we're looking at some big races here over the next couple of days, next couple of weeks, as we get down to the nitty gritty. Not gritty, the mascot of the Flyers, the nitty gritty. But so we're going to get to the races here, and we're only 17 minutes in. Sometimes I ramble for 30, 35, but you can check out that FanDuel promotion as well. I don't want that. I want this. And right now on FanDuel, if you join now with that link, if you scan that QR code, you will get up to $300 back in bonus bets every day for 10 days. So you would join FanDuel. It's so easy, even a caveman can do it. You make your first deposit. Hey, I didn't even get that far yet, damn it. Your first real money wager after depositing is eligible, and you get $100 in bonus bets. Place your first 5, you get, okay, so and then you refer a friend. Yeah, everything's on there. And it's if your bets don't win. So if you win, you get to reap the rewards of that. So, and of course you're saying, Joe, why are you promoting sportsbook stuff when you're talking about horse racing? Well, the great thing about FanDuel is you can go from sportsbook to casino to racebook. Bing, bang, boom. And you have the same pot of money. From what I know, they're the only sports book that lets you use the same pot of money for the race book. And I love it because guess what? You hit something big, one way or the other, you get to do that. So check out that FanDuel promotion, and we'll get you guys all squared away here. So let's get to the races here. So the one thing is these races, because they're both Churchill Downs owned tracks or CDI tracks, they commingled these together. So when you're watching later today, and the first of the 4 races is the Bourbonette Oaks, and that's at 5:43 p.m. So you're going to be going back and forth watching races from Turfway, then Fairgrounds, which is good. They have a pick 5 today, which is called. Let me get the name of it right for you guys. It is the Bayou Bluegrass Pick 5. It's the New Orleans Classic, which is race 9 at Fairgrounds. The Bourbonette Oaks, which is race 11 at Turfway. The Fairground Oaks, race 11 at the Fairgrounds. Jeff Ruby Stakes, race 12 at Turfway, and the Louisiana Derby, race 12. So you're going to be going even back and forth with that, but that's probably the reason why they commingled these in such a way, which is fine, because you don't end up going from, some races that are like 4 or 5 o'clock, and then you're waiting 2 hours. I mean, like for example, the Sunset Six that they have at Gulfstream Park in Santa Anita, which is the last 3 races at Gulfstream and the last 3 races at Santa Anita. You play the last 3 races, then you're waiting around for these last 3 races. So it's like, I want to go home, but unless you really got a good feeling, or you're just like, well, it'll pay tomorrow as well if I cash the ticket, But let's get to the races here. We're going to begin with the 4 big ones, and I'm going to make you wait for those last 2 races here, which are the Bleacher Brothers races here today. So let's begin with Turfway. And usually what I like to do is I like to go in sequential order, but since CDI decided to commingle these races here, we're going to go with the 2. We're going to go kind of out of order here. We're going to go 2 races at Turfway, turf races, 2 races at 2 races at Fairgrounds. And I'm also taking a peek just in case, because let's say one of these Bleacher Brother horses is scratched. I can just say, hey, it's scratched. We're not talking about it. But just to let you know, a little bit of a change here at Gulfstream. They are off the turf today at Gulfstream, and they will be moving that to the Tapeta course, which is their synthetic track in the middle. They're going to be going 1 mile and 70 yards. So they're off the turf today. So just to let you guys know. And usually with the Tapeta track, usually the horses that run on the turf usually still run. Occasionally you have a horse that scratches, but for the most part, they stay in there. So let's get to, we'll get to that towards the end of the show, but we're going to begin at Turfway Park, where right outside of Cincinnati, they have some big races. Hey, I picked the right one. All right. I want to go here, actually. Hold on. There we go. So we're going to look at Turfway here today. And we're not looking at race 10. We're looking at race 11. And that is the Bourbonette Oaks. $300,000, a non-graded stake. Actually, it's a listed stake, which is right below grade 3 level. They are going 1 mile and 16th. And mind you, this is the Tapeta track there, which is a synthetic course. So you're going to get a neutralization of horses that run on the dirt and run on the turf. So you are going to see a bunch of horses here in these 2 races that have run on the turf mostly. And, it kind of gives you a clue. Maybe he can run on the dirt. And, and with Turfway Park being bought by CDI a few years ago, these races really became big races that they focused on for the Kentucky Derby, because part of the road to the Kentucky Derby is the fact that they're running at their own tracks. But like for example, last week with Colonial Downs, Churchill bought Colonial a few years ago, and then they moved the Virginia Derby from the turf to the main track. So there you go. So, but we have a field of 12 here. Just one little note here, barring any foreseen, and the reason why I word it is because, every once in a while you read something on the Daily Racing Form or Pollock Report or Brisnet, and every once in a while you see something, it's like, what happened? But Maximum Mall for the 7 here, this horse is going to be scratched. She is going to be running in the Fairgrounds Oaks this afternoon. So unless they find a way to clone her and run her in both races. We know that's not going to happen. She will be running in the she will be running at the fairgrounds today. Favored in this field of 12, which is going to be a field of 11 with that scratch that's going to be updating shortly, is Scratch It. And she returns after a 5-month layoff. And she ran into Grade 3 Surfer Girl for 2-year-olds. Now, this is a horse that is wintering in Florida and has had consistent workouts week over week. You can see every week since January, getting her ready little by little, every week. So consistency there with the fact that she's training. She has a workout every single, or a recorded workout, I should say. So she was wide in that race, but she could not get to Brave Deb that day. And also she's got Tappet in her pedigree, so she's going to she's definitely going to get this distance, and if they want to run her longer, they can as well. You got a trainer that wins at 28%, with horses coming off of layoffs between 2 and 6 months. You got a trainer who wins 31% of the time on synthetic tracks. That's probably figuring in here at Turfway, as well as Gulfstream Park. Going from turf to synthetic, wins at 23%. So you got all kinds of analytical stuff there that goes to its favor. Definitely going to be closing late in this race, and we'll see if she's ready here. I think she will be, because the fact that she's has pretty much had a timed workout every week like clockwork tells me that she should be ready here. And also with the trainer that does here 28%, that tells me everything I need to know. Also, the one thing is, unlike and we're going to briefly go over here to the Jeff Ruby Stakes. We're not looking at it yet. I didn't finish here, but if you notice here, horses that are nominated for the Triple Crown, they're all listed here. You can see the icon. And some of these horses are not. But that doesn't mean that they're completely ineligible. So let's say Brave Force wins at 30-1. Guess what? I think they get Derby Fever and nominate, but you get the idea. But we're going to get to that in a second. But the thing is, these horses, I admit, I don't know who's nominated for the Oaks or not. So Scratch It could be nominated. Or this just may be a race that, let's run in this race. But with a top-notch trainer like Brad Cox, you know that she's probably nominated. And they're going to do what they can to get her to run. So get her to run in the Oaks, the Kentucky Oaks, on the first Friday in May. The one, Resplendence, is a speed horse, won 2 in a row. Broke its maiden at Turfway Park in January. Pretty convincingly, 6 lengths there. And basically, I mean, they just carbon copied the comment here. In hand, second, ridden out. In hand, second, ridden out. Won the Cincinnati Trophy race there. Big jump in the Beyer. So some people may think, oh, she's going to bounce, and that may be the case. But she is sired by Justify, and Justify horses do get the distance. They get the distance, and they also win, even though she hasn't. Justify horses win on the turf. They win on the main track. I mean, they win on all the surfaces. So this horse, and looking at this race here, there is no speed in this race, and I'll show you what I mean in a minute. But because my other horses are down toward the bottom of the page here, you got the shortest distance between 2 points here because this horse is going to be on the rail. And if she's unpressured here, she could go gate to wire here because she can control the pace. And even though these fractions were very slow, and we'll see how fast or slow Turfway is playing tonight or this afternoon. See, I messed up there because I forgot Turfway's running during the day today. You have these. She was clear all the way around the track. And the thing is, even if these are slow fractions, if you have a horse that is dueling with her and they're going these same fractions, you're going to get mental fatigue, even if it's not physical fatigue. It's kind of like people hounding you all the time over stupid stuff in your personal life. After a while, you just get tired of it. And that's the same thing with these horses, even with something like this. But you kind of got an inkling in that Indiana Horseshoe Indy race where she went for the lead and said, "See you later." But that was more of horses being closer to her that day. So, but like, for example, we'll just go right down the list here. Resist, I don't think goes for the lead. Barra Peninsula, not really. Now, granted, you're talking now. If you believe in these time form ratings, Blazing Brat could potentially, but she seems to be a horse that has been learning to rate. So you might see these horses. You might see her try to rate there, or she may go back to her old ways. But she is 30-1. Scratch It, we talked about here. You can see that she's a closer. Call Me Your Majesty. No, thank you. Not seriously. Definitely a horse that's going to be closing here if it does the same thing it did at the fairgrounds. It may just be a horse that just likes the turf. Maxim Walfer scratched. Bless Her. Probably be back in the pack, but did but did get bumped, has gotten bumped around a little bit, has had traffic issues. So maybe closer to pace if you see this horse get a clean start. Lovely Gray is a horse that I featured in the article here. Lovely Gray, not Lonely Gray. Lonely Gray. Oh, that's Lonely Day. I'm sorry. But she comes in here definitely looking to going to be another horse that's going to close here. Just couldn't get to Resplendence because she set such slow fractions that Resplendence had that head start and she just couldn't catch her. Might need some help here with somebody possibly even running to lead when they don't normally do it. So, or as we've seen so many times in horse racing, the horse stumbles, gets bumped or whatever. Next thing you know, it's at the back of the pack. But La Ville Lumiere, at least that's how I think it's pronounced, comes in from Santa Anita. This is an interesting horse here. Could be close to the pace here. I mean, did they try to send her to the lead because of the fact that she's on the outside here or toward the outside? Now, a lot of times these horses that go down the hill at Santa Anita, they do well going a mile on the turf there. But it'd be interesting to see if this translates to running a mile in a 16th at another track. She was tight early, inside, angled out, and that's a race down the hill, and it's a quirky race because you have a right turn there at the beginning and then you turn left. So all kinds of, that's a quirky distance, and you're going down the hill, so the races are even faster than what you normally see for 6.5 furlongs. So Lori Lay Lee, going to go 2 turns for the first time. Nyquist, another one that gets bred for the distance here. Been wide both tries. Probably is going to be wide here, but she does have the ability to close, but it's just a matter of what she does here. Maybe she, if you believe in these time form ratings, she may just gun for the lead here because she is a sprinter, or she was sprinting in her first 2 races, but she does have she has Nyquist on the sire side. On the dam side, she has Tappet, so she's bred for these distances. It's just a matter of getting her that race leading up to today, which they didn't get. It's like, let's do it. So, but she did tire there. It did look like she tired, but the top 2 horses did draw off there. So, and Onesie Weather didn't show much. First race after 3 months layoff. Isn't going to go for lead, and it's a maiden on top of that. So based on what I'm seeing here, and I did that for a reason here. Resplendence is going to go for the lead. Unless she gets pressured, this horse is going to go gate to wire, in my opinion. So I'm going 110.59 here. I'm going Resplendence over La Ville Lumiere, over Lovely Gray, over Scratch It. Those 4 horses will be my 4 here. In the do it like that. There we go. Okay, just resetting things here because it's like, wait, I need to see the chat just in case. So, but that's race 11, the Bourbonette Oaks. Race 12 is the Jeff Ruby Stakes. Whoops. And yes, that is spelled correctly. That is spelled correctly because guess what? It's a steakhouse sponsorship. And hey, we'll sponsor you, and just do that. So, but it's a fun little thing there, make you think and all that. So, so we have a field of 12 here, just like the last race. And I'm doing that on purpose here. Okay, so it does look like the scratches are in for the fairgrounds. Okay. And nothing in the 2 races that we're going to be looking at. Okay, so let's look at race 12 here. And this is the Jeff Ruby Stakes. 100 points to the winner, 50 for second, 25 for third, 15 for fourth, 10 for fifth. So the top 2 will be eligible to run in the Kentucky Derby. Now, like, for example, Turf Star, if he were to win this race, Black Hornet, they'll have to late nominate. Medici, the same thing. I saw an interesting post this morning on, I think it was on Facebook. Dick Mandela, he is running at Turfway Park for the first time since 2002. Just some crazy stuff, crazy stats that you find here. So, like those horses, if they win and they get the Derby fever, they still have to nominate to get into there. And they just may decide, we're not dirt horses. We're bred for the turf. But we did see last year that, um, and we had that interview with Kate and Bradar last year on the Bleacher Brothers show, that these horses do tend, because they pack the dirt tight when it rains. When you have rain like that, and you have the track sealed, um, some horses will be able. Some horses that are bred for turf are able to take to Churchill, but but in a way, you hope for a bright sunny day that day. But be prepared for anything. So, stark contrast, the 11 is favored here, and he is Triple Crown nominated. He comes in here looking like definitely the horse to beat here. Racing for the first time in about 10 weeks. He won the Eddie Logan going away there, going a mile. And, that it was a speed favoring turf course that day. Near the pace, took over, easy win there, won the 5 that day. And nothing that's, nothing that was unexpected there. Definitely has a class edge, in my opinion. Because when you look at this, the maiden special weight closed well to win. Santa Anita, the Zuma Beach closed to win, or maybe stalked if you really want to get technical. The Del Mar race was 58-1, facing some of the best juvenile turf horses last October, last Halloween at Del Mar. Closed well. And also, Del Mar, not really that conducive to horses closing, because it is a shorter stretch at Del Mar versus the other tracks that the Breeders' Cup runs at, but did close well to win that. So is going to go from the main track to synthetic. And, with these California horses, it's hard to say with a lot of these races, because you got a 5-horse field there, a 5-horse field here, a 6-horse field, and it's also hard to say because this is probably when he dabbled with Golden Gate, when that was still, well, actually that's more than a year ago. Okay. So I imagine that he shipped in probably to here, because you only have a few tracks that are synthetic. You have Presque Isle, you have Woodbine, you have Turfway, you have Gulfstream. So I imagine that these races are probably Turfway and Gulfstream for the most part. But he should be able to handle this synthetic track here. And if he can get that, he may even be setting the pace here, because I'm not expecting a fast pace in this race. I don't even know who would take the lead here early on, but the outside post does complicate things, both him and Stop the Car. Stop the Car I mentioned because in his debut, he debuted against the Town, which is one of the Bleacher Brothers Stable horses. Stop the Car closed the win. The Town had AJ and myself saying, holy crap, did the Town close? Because it's like, and we saw Impractical not do a darn thing at Keeneland. He comes back. We come back with this. It's like, I think we got ourselves a horse. Now, granted, I don't have any monetary investment in this horse. It's just that I'm invested in it mentally because of the whole Bleacher Brothers thing. But did close to win that optional claiming race. maybe a little bit over its head here. So you may see something here that, you know, maybe like, but does, you know, the one thing I do like here, did get a couple of workouts over the synthetic track here leading up to this race here. So Maximum Security will get the distance here. So keep that in mind here. But, you know, we'll see what happens with this race. And this was a race I was favoring closers. And this may just have been a race where this horse just did not fire for whatever reason. But still 20-1. But I'm throwing him into the superfecta. The 6 Medici. This could be the horse on the lead. And, you know, you may get a crowd there that, you know, will make him go a little bit faster because of the noise factor. Never know. But has run well at the mile distance. He's going to have to go another furlong. Now, he did tire in this race here a little bit. Or maybe maybe it's more because of Plutarch there, just taking off here. So be interesting to see here. I think this is the horse that goes for the lead. And did get caught late by Greenwich Village there. You know, and, you know, you might want to look at that race here to see if he was just got caught by a horse that was closing like a major freight train there. So, but that looks like the horse that's going to go for the lead and try to go gate the wire here. Like, for example, Turf Star, I don't see anything there, but, you know, Grand Motion will probably shock you there. Full Effort is a stone cold closer. I mean, you can see it. You can see the pattern here in his races from the very first race at Ellis Park going a mile. Closing. Has never been worse than 2 lengths back, even though he was 4th in that race. So, and he has made the transition from turf to synthetic without any problems here. Just missed in the Leonidas there, going a mile. Went a mile and a 16th into Battaglia, was 6 wide on the final turn. And some tracks are more forgiving when it comes to being wide on a turn. Turfway Park, not as much as, for example, last week's track, Colonial Downs, because it's a mile and a quarter around, whereas this is your typical mile racetrack. So you're, you know, each lane that you go out, you're losing all that ground. So keep that in mind here. So that might have cost him the win that day. But I think what could happen here, because there is no, I mean, because it just seems to me there is no, I mean, maybe Baytown Dreamer tries to upset the apple cart here. 2 Out Hero will be second race off of a layoff, possibly there. Black Hornet, maybe, I don't think goes to lead. So it depends how fast Medici goes. If they can settle this horse down on the lead and go 24 or maybe 23-3, maybe this horse can lull them to sleep. But Chaos Agent, be interesting to see what it does in this second race here. Was 4 wide, and also that's a short stretch race, so he'll get a full stretch to run into here. So there really isn't much in the way of speed. Well, possibly Stark Contrast goes for lead, and if Stark Contrast goes for a lead, like, it could happen, but these were slow fractions that day at Santa Anita. You could be looking at a speed duel with Medici and Stark Contrast. And if that's the case, I'm loving Full Effort even more because guess what? This is a Stone Cold closer, not Stone Cold Steve Austin. By the way, we had Stone Cold 316 Day the other day. And, you know, you could see this horse closing, and, you know, it wouldn't surprise me that this horse is along the rail and then all of a sudden he tips out 6 wide because he's so used to it. 5 wide, 5 wide, 4 wide. But I'm going with Full Effort here. That's my pick here for the Jeff Ruby Stakes. I'm going 2, 6, 11, 12. I'm going Full Effort over Medici, over Stark Contrast, and Stop the Car. So those are the races at Turfway Park. And just one final check here. Just want to see if the scratches are in there or not. Yeah, so the scratches are in at Turfway. And we do have a race earlier in the day that we're not covering that is scratches galore, but, you know, nothing. But, okay, so we have additional scratches here in the Bourbonette Oaks, but it doesn't affect the work that I gave you here. Blazing Brat was a long shot, scratched. Maximum Offer, we mentioned before. Call Me Your Majesty, scratched. So they'll be, so we'll have a field of 9 for there. So the $10 promotion will still be good if you finish second or third. Full field in the Jeff Ruby Stakes. And then we go to the fairgrounds. And we are going to look at the Fairgrounds Oaks, race 11. We're going to look at race 12. And then we're going to look at that 7th race where our horse Impractical is running. And I do see a program error here that we'll get to if they don't fix it by then. So let's just go here first. So some scratches are in. So we may have another wave of scratches, but for the most part, we are looking at everything here already. So so it looks like no other scratches in our 2 races here. So let's begin with the Fairgrounds Oaks here. Like I said before, Maximum Offer, you know, even though we covered it already ad nauseum, if you had printed out the program, you're going to your local racetrack or whatever, you see this, don't worry about it. Maximum Offer is running at the fairgrounds today. If you're going to Turfway Park today, it's a scratch, obviously. So Bella Ballerina, 3 for 3 lifetime. And she is giving me, in a way, she is giving me vibes a little bit of let me find it here. She's giving me vibes of Good Cheer. Now, what do I mean? Now, granted, Good Cheer had already run 5 races when the Fairgrounds Oaks came around. She has won 3 races here. She won the debut at Keeneland, which was going 6 furlongs. She then won the Goldenrod there, got 10 points for that win. That race, the horse that was on the lead, and I forget who the horse was because we actually showed this video when we were covering the Rachel Alexandra last month. This horse, the horse that was on the lead, just the jockey could not control that horse that was on the lead, and eventually she caught up, and she powered to a 3.5 length lead, held on the win there. Atropa was closing, and held on the win there. Came back here in the Rachel Alexandra, and she was on the lead here and fought hard, had to fight back to win because Love Your Neighbor took the lead in the stretch. So you're looking at a horse here who, I mean, but she, could be, probably needed that race because that was about 10 weeks between races. Might have needed that race, but I don't necessarily think she goes for the lead, but she can if she needs to. So keep that in mind in this race here. And Love Your Neighbor is going to be in the same boat here. I mean, she can win from off the pace, but she has in her 2 races here, and it may have been because it was a heavy speed bias that day, according to the daily racing form. She was right near the pace there in the Silver Bullet Day, could not get by, taken by the wind. And then Rachel Alexandra had the lead, but hung a little bit and got passed by Bella Ballerina last time out. Now, definitely should be handling this distance, has Tap It in there, Constitution, Into Mischief. So definitely should be getting the distance here today. Also, I think that this race we'll get to see these two go at it again. And I think that Love Your Neighbor can come from further back than where she was in these 2 races. Also, yeah, it's a shorter field here. In this race, well, not as big, 7 horses, but so you see that there. Now, if these horses go too fast, whether it's these 2 or maybe Love and Trust goes for the lead here, like it did, breaking its maiden there, things can set up nicely for Newtown Pike, which is the closer in this race here. Closed well in the Martha Washington. Was wide, made a late bid, but just missed by a neck to Search Party. And since I have this up here, I think Search Party ran last week. Or am I confusing? Oh, no, she ran in the Search Party ran at Oaklawn and finished 4th. Yeah, that was the race where the Baffert horse came from California. Okay. So, if you believe those transitive properties, be like, she didn't do that well. But this is a horse that wants to close, and the year's end. If you're looking at that, was the first race in almost 3 months, but it was also a race that, if you're familiar with Oaklawn, and if you remember the former Trek announcer Terry Wallace, he used to say every time they had a mile race, into the short stretch of the mile run. But this race here, she will definitely be closing. But the question is, does she get the speed here? I mean, I don't know how Delta down speed will translate here for the most part. But you you could be seeing a couple of horses on the lead, especially do they end up going, and the thing is, you don't run these on paper, you run these on the track. And that's the great thing about horsing is it's one big giant puzzle to put together. But I think that you could potentially see a speed duel, and that's going to help Newtown Pike here. And I wouldn't be surprised if Bella Ballerina goes 4 for 4 today with a win. But I'm going to try to beat her with Love Your Neighbor. Did get 2 works in between races there, and I think she gets the job done here. She turns the table on Bella Ballerina here today. So I'm going 4, 5, 2, 3 here. Let's go with Love Your Neighbor over Bella Ballerina, over Newtown Pike, over Maximum Offer here in race 11. And then race 12 is the Louisiana Derby. And this is the longest race in North America on the for the prep races. They are going 1 mile and 3/16. And I'm just checking one thing, but it's not loading quick enough. Yeah, so we do have one other race that is 1 mile and 3/16. It is the about distance of 1 mile and 3/16, even though they say 1 mile and 3/16. And that's the UAE Derby next week in Dubai. Where you say Dubai, I say hello. Man, that's 2 different jokes I made about it. But anyways, so we have a field of 9 in this race here. Chip Honcho is favored here. Well, first of all, I like to do that when I'm sitting here starting my prep. And this is the free race of the day. And oh, by the way, just to let you guys know, and we're an hour into the show here. The one thing I will tell you guys is if it's free, it's for me. And different days, you get these free programs. You get the Laurel Park program if you're a fan of Laurel Park or you're going out there today. And the Coast to Coast Pick 5 as well, which is Gulfstream and Santa Anita. So you do have that today as well. So, if you want a free program, you want to play a couple different races, take advantage of it. Because, like, for example, with the daily racing form, which is what I use right now, you can use these programs. And, you can use them and not even, you don't need to have a plan to get certain programs, or, you may never need to purchase a program, because guess what? You get a lucky day where, hey, Laurel Park, all right. Coast to Coast Pick 5, yeah, we'll play that. Let's see what are in this Pick 5. Oh, yeah, I like this race. That horse I like. And, we're going to play him again today. That sort of thing. So, so this is 1 mile and 3/16, and it's the longest race in North America. They bumped this back about 3 or 4 years ago, and it creates a little bit of an advantage for these horses, because they only have to go that extra 16th of a mile, even though they Louisiana Derby horse hasn't won the Kentucky Derby in a while, I believe. So, and if I'm wrong, so be it. It is what it is. So, Chip Honcho is favored here. Probably going to be on the lead. May even be just sitting off the pace, depending on how things go here. It depends on Pavlovian, but that may have been just a product of the short field that he went for the lead there. But going back to Chip Honcho here, likes to be forwardly placed here. And the one thing is, with these free races, you can check into all these different things here. Like, for example, you can check here And you can see that Connect gets 7.2 furlongs per winner. So his offspring win at these longer races, which cancel out these horses that win sprinting here. So just give you an idea here. So already has proven that the track, that this is not an issue here. This was just a race where he just got beat at the end here. Paladin won't be running in this race. Probably, I forget where he's going to be running next week or 2 weeks from now. But this is definitely a horse that could, that this horse could potentially go gate the wire here, because this is going to be a tactical race. I don't see any horse putting in some insanely fast fractions early on here. So keep an eye on him. Golden Tempo is a closer. Just could not get to the top two here. Closed the gap in this race, as they said here. The one thing to remember with the fairgrounds is that you have a quarter of a mile to the finish. So you're going to see these horses, you're going to see in this final quarter of a mile, it'll seem like to some like it's forever. For some people, it'll be like, won't be long enough. But this is a stone cold closer here. Closed from last to win his debut, going 6 furlongs, going wide. Split between horses to win the Lecomte. And I always like these inexperienced horses splitting horses. It shows that they're not scared. And this race just, and you can say whatever you want, but I think that this is definitely, that race is going to help him. And I think he bounces back here, to tell you the truth. He should be flying late here today. Blacksmith, anytime you see a Bob Baffert horse running, it's like, uh-oh, he's in it to win it. Now, interesting story that came up this week was that Bob Baffert is moving a string of his horses and some of his better horses to Kentucky. California racing isn't what it used to be, because you just have Santa Anita, Los Al, and Del Mar now. But these horses, some will argue, oh, you can see that California racing is dying because Bob Baffert is even leaving. Well, first of all, Bob Baffert was not allowed on any of the CDI tracks for 3 years, for one. And two, in a way, I'm wondering, does Baffert not having all his horses in California lead me to believe that maybe some of the other trainers won't be afraid to run in some of these bigger races? But that's a topic for another day. But Blacksmith comes in here. Liam's map, 7.0 furlongs per win. So should be able to get the distance. Does have Unbridled Song. Does have Curlin on the dam side. And Curlin was Golden Tempo's sire. Curlin gets 7.7. So up and down on both sides of this pedigree. This horse is bred for distances like this. And this is a good test. Was close to the pace here. Never know. Maybe one of these California speed horses, even though this isn't really a speed horse, but did run well in the only prep race it was in, has 5 points from that race from finishing second to litmus test in what was the Bob Baffert Invitational that day. But you do have, he could be stalking here and could be looking to take over in the stretch from Chip Honcho, if that's the scenario that plays out here today. Easterly is an interesting play here. Brad Cox, 29% there. You see all the things there. Ever Zayas comes in from Gulfstream Park, and they win at a 43% clip over the last year. First time they're getting together at Gulfstream at Fairgrounds, but had 2 races there. Not bad races there, and actually, also that's a quirky mile. That's that quirky mile in the 16th race where you have the short stretch. And he should be able to get the distance. Tis now Uncle Mo gets 7.5. Tis now the only multiple Breeders' Cup Classic winner. Probably be stalking, but gets that outside post. Emerging Market ran well in that race. Them in Powership were 14 lengths better than the rest of the field. That was a horse that really dug in and won, and that's something that you like to see with these young horses, especially ones that are running for the first time that just are going to keep fighting and fighting and fighting. And that was only a second off the track record as well. So, but major step up in class. Candy Ride gets 7 furlongs from its offspring when his horses win. Empire Maker did win. Did win the Belmont, so that's a 1.5 mile race. So, so just give you an idea there. So, there's a potential of a speed duel here because Chip Honcho, even though he has the potential to go and gate the wire, I think there's a distinct possibility that he's pressured by Pavlovian to the inside. But part of me also says that may have just been because nobody else wanted to lead there that day. Blacksmith possibly, Easterly possibly. So I think that you're going to get the setup for Golden Tempo to close here. And he's shown he can close here at the fairgrounds, even going a mile in the 16th. The distance is not an issue, as I said before. Smart Strike is a sire that gets big distances from his horses. Bernardini did win the Preakness and did win some classic races along the way. He just missed a Breeders' Cup Classic to Invasor. Did win the Jockeys Club Gold Cup going a 1.25 miles. Now, granted, that was only a 4-horse race. Did win the Travers easily. You see his record speaks for itself. So he's definitely a horse that his horses get the distance. So I'm going to go with Golden Tempo here. I think this is a race where the closers are going to win here. And I'm going to go 5, 3, 9, 7 in these races here at the fairgrounds. Also, let's go to race 7. Whoops, we don't want that. Go back to Classic. And our boy Impractical is running today. And he gets a field of 11 here. We get a lot of first-time starters here. So you got a lot of inexperience here. Impractical, there is one note here that is, well, a couple of different notes here. First of all, Impractical is no longer a colt. He's a gelding. He was gelded after they changed trainers from Destin Heath to Whit Beckman. And I like this move to Whit Beckman. Even though he hasn't had many opportunities in the last year to train a horse for the first time. But this horse, I mean, I'd like to see him go longer. But you look at these numbers, it's like, ugh. And I think that is worthy of a 15-1 morning line odds. But when you look at this, I think that he could be ready to go here. And I think he's been running. He's been training very well, according to what AJ said, because he gets the updates on this horse all the time. And I'll be getting updates soon with my horse, that Shippy 24 horse that I bought into. But you know, 50-1, 101-3. You know, building some stamina there. 49, 48-3, a minute and a third, best of 30, 49-3. So definitely is going to be a horse that may do some shocking things here today. Be interesting to see how they react to this horse, especially when they tell you that this horse has been gelded. Because he was gelded. That's part of the reason why they gave him a couple of months off, because it was a combination, couple of months off, figure out what to do with him. So there was a few different things there. The trainer change. I'd like to move to Beckman because Destin Heath, he's more of a behind the scenes trainer. You know, he's more of a trainer on the farm than he is a trainer on the track here, because most of his horses run at River Downs, which is now Belterra. So he'll run at those tracks, but you know, he does sneak horses in every now and then, but he's not one of the big trainers that Commonwealth uses. Chianti Town did tire late in that race, but that was a big race there. You know, this horse, you know, Impractical is going to have to catch a lot of horses there. Armet number 3 here, first time starter. You know, does have some okay works there. Radar Lock, they had promise for this horse because they nominated this horse at a Triple Crown, but the problem is, you know, sometimes these horses don't develop as quickly and you don't want to get them in there. But if there is one good thing that you can look at here, Flavian Pratt does ride. So keep that in mind. And these may be, and, you know, just the way that comes up, F Pratt, that may be a situation where that, let me see one thing here. He's not? Yeah. So that may be a jockey change move because the way that they put that in, at least that's what that tells me. Range Goat tried to go gate the wire there. That was a 1-turn, 5 furlong race. And also, Delta Downs, those turns are even tighter because that's a 6 furlong or 3/4 of a mile bull ring track. So he'll probably go for the lead there. Essence of Nix, if that's the case, then probably going to fold in the second round of the playoffs. I mean, sorry about that. Does have a trainer that wins at 9% first time starters. Does have a good combination with Arietta here. Does have some good starts there. Saint of War does have that bullet work. Probably went a little too fast there, but could potentially be Barrister, like the spelling of that. First race in 2 months here. You know, did have some off time there. 52-1, 50 there, so improved there. I mean, one thing is got bumped around at the start, so maybe a little bit closer to the pace here. Also, the italics are important here because the horses that finished first and second ended up winning next time out. So not to worry. Probably will be a horse that runs going 2 turns next time out. Went 48-2 in that workout, 17-1, 17 there, and you get to see the works there. Mo the Merrier, probably you know, probably another horse that will probably want to go 2 turns. Mr. All In, same thing here. Now, Kenny McPeak with More the Merrier, he wins at 14% first time starters. Sherry DeVoe, she wins at 21%. So that may be a horse worth playing here, even though I think this is a horse that will be 2 turns. And with these races, especially this week at the fairgrounds, a lot of these connections are getting their horses a race in, especially in these races that are not stakes races. Let's get them one more race in here before we go elsewhere. So, but Impractical 15-1. But also note, for those that are first-time gelding handicappers, this horse is a first-time gelding. So keep that in mind. And I got to put my money on Impractical, right? So hopefully you get a big price there as well. So Impractical running in the 7th at Gulfstream, 4 o'clock Eastern time, post time. And then we go to Gulfstream Park. This race, as I mentioned before, is off the turf. And she is still running. Now, looking at some of these horses here, and here's the thing: some of these horses do want to run on the turf and the turf alone. Some of the connections do that, and we get some additional comments here, which is good, which actually helps us with the fact that you have Not This Time connecting 70% of his debuting offspring. So. So obviously they like the handicapper doing the closer look comments here does like that horse there. So 16-1 right now. Enjoying goes back to the synthetic, another off the turf synthetic race here. But did tire badly. That could have been just being green and being the first time out. So keep that in mind there if you're looking for Enjoying. Panda 3 will race on the synthetic for the first time here. Going to be close to the pace here. And the synthetic, I believe, if I remember correctly, is very speed favoring at times. So keep that in mind as well. Cape Sunion races here for the first time in North America. Brendan Walsh does get 27% winners for horses running first time in North America, 90% first time with trainers. First time the horse runs under his care. And this is a type of horse where if you're playing this race at Gulfstream Park, take advantage of Gulfstream Park FanDuel, because you can probably find these races and you can figure out what happened with those races here because they don't have the comments on here. And this is exactly why I say handicapping the UAE Derby is going to be a bear. Fashion Quest ran on the dirt, nothing. They're trying the turf here. Nyquist is a 13% turf sire, so that's something to look at there if you're looking at this horse here. Tap This Way, 13% winners, but they're going on to the Tapeta surface here. Friend of Bleacher Brothers, Mark Cassie, trains this horse here. Our horse, Keepsake Box, 5-1, did improve in this race here. Does have did get checked in the first turn, and this was a horrible ride that she got here. Actually, both races that Micah Husbands, I think it's Micah, had problems with this horse early on in this race. So Mom was dull in all 3 starts. But she has produced multiple Grade 1 winner Gina Romantica and big cap winner Gift Box. So there is hope for this horse. So, going back to the Tapeta, is coming back. Does look like a horse that's going to there's plenty of pedigree potential here. So a lot of good things to say about Keepsake Box here. And I think that she just had bad luck in these two races. Shot at Perfection, going to be racing on the Tapeta for the first time. Didn't do much. Hasn't done much even on the dirt. So this may be one of those fillies where she just disappears after a couple more races and decides, oh, we're going to just breed her. Classic Move draws in from the also eligible list, and you would think that I would play that horse because it isn't also eligible, but is going to be close to the pace here. Might actually help Keepsake Box. She always seems to loom at the top of the stretch here. Amended Dreamer, the 13, draws in as well. Had that one race where she was close to the pace, but hasn't really done much other than that one race. So, but our money obviously is on Keepsake Box in this race here, and I think that she will be looming at the top of the stretch like she was in those first two races here. Hopefully she does have that kick here. Did have some interesting works here, 47-4 on the turf there at Palm Meadows, but was middle of the pack there with these, with that. So, but we're going to go with Keepsake Box here in this race here, and we're going Impractical, obviously, because of our connections with Commonwealth. So, and you can always go to Commonwealth at joincommonwealth.com. You can see what they're offering as well. I think they are offering two different horses right now, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just check here. Because you can tell that my ADD mind is like, oh, yeah, we'll talk about this. Well, talk about this. Well, talk about this. Yeah, there's two horses that they have right now. You have Italian Soiree, who's run 10 races. She's coming back to the races. She is a graded stakes winner. And my horse, Shippy 24, who will be training soon. And the video that I showed, I think it was on my Joe Quill show. That horse looks like a monster already in terms of size. So be interesting to see. And we'll start getting excited for that when I should say, because the only time I worry about pronouns is when we're talking about horses. So that is it for this show. Next week, Gulfstream in Oaklawn. Got the Florida Derby. Got the Arkansas Derby. Wednesday's article will probably be Parks because they got a mandatory pick 5, Philly Big 5, the jackpot wager that won't be a jackpot wager that day. Hopefully nobody hits it on Monday and Tuesday, because a lot of times when these tracks announce these mandatory payouts in advance, all of a sudden you're sitting there and it's like, all of a sudden you're sitting there and the day before it gets hit for $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, or in one case in Gulfstream it was like $3-4 million, and then you just sit there. If you're running at the track, if you run the track and you see that it gets hit, and you're like, so let's hope for my case that the extension of the Festival of Jess, because it is her birthday tomorrow, so happy birthday, Jess. And Jessica Paquette, that is. Hopefully we can extend that festival to Wednesday, where may be able to pull out some big wins there. So So that is it for this show. And I do appreciate each and every one of you watching here, both live and even after the fact, because I admit, I know that this is going to be available on the plethora of platforms that we have on. So I do appreciate each and every one of you. So let's do it live again next Saturday with Gulfstream and Oaklawn. And check me out at twitch.tv/JoeQuill. Subscribe, follow. Going to be doing some additional things on my page as well. So I do appreciate everybody. Let's do it live. Do it live on Saturday at 10 a.m. and Monday night, 9 o'clock. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll see you guys in the